Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you every side, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooters gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I won, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
Hey everybody, how are you? I hope your Saturday is going well. So, I hadn't planned on going live. However, when I woke up this morning, I saw that the body cam footage of the school resource officer interviewing Nex at the hospital had been released, as well as school surveillance video, in addition to the 911 call the day after the fight happened. So there's a lot that has been released, and I'm going to hold my thoughts and opinions till the end. However, I will say my perspective has changed just a little bit. So thank you for being here, Cattywampus. Pookie, good to see you. And I'm guessing you got a notification, Pookie, because you're here on time. Hey, Ashtastic, Tracy Esme, good to see you. Hey, Sinner. So we're going to start with an article from USA Today that I believe, let me just look at the date again, was from yesterday. So this kind of just gives a summary of this case. If you didn't see my live, I believe it was yesterday. It's hard to tell. Time is kind of pushing all into each other. If you go to my earlier live on Nex, you will see even more information. I went through school policy in regards to code of conduct, which actually I am going to bring up today again, because there is something that the school resource officer stated in the hospital interview with Nex that made me believe that the school has obviously is following the law, but also has added their own additional protocols when it comes to altercations, physical altercations in that school. But I'll get to that later on. So here again, Nex Benedict is 16. They got into a physical altercation in a school bathroom with other peers, 3 girls, on February, I believe it was February 7th. Let me just double check. I don't know if the article says it. I should know this. I just watched all the videos and read these articles, and I can't remember. Yes, so February 7th, I was correct. February 7th is when the altercation took place in the school bathroom. The following day, Nex's mom called 911 because their eyes were rolling back, they were having labored breathing, their hands were curling, so they sought medical attention. Unfortunately, Nex did not survive. So the question is, was it a result from the physical altercation? An initial medical examiner report found that the injuries sustained in the altercation did not cause Nex's death. However, an official cause of death has not been stated, pending toxicology and other results. So it is very suspicious at this point. But I will say that hearing the 911 call, hearing and watching the body cam footage of the hospital interview definitely was insightful, for me at least. Hey, Victoria, good morning. Good to see you. So, death of Nex Benedict did not result from trauma, police say. Many questions remain, and that is very true. There are many questions that remain. As police continued Thursday to probe the death of an Oklahoma teen who died a day after being involved in a fight that broke out in a high school bathroom, authorities announced a preliminary autopsy showed the student's death was not the result of trauma. The death of Nex Benedict, 16, has prompted widespread attention and nationwide calls for schools to better protect students who may be bullied because of their gender and sexual identities. Nex, a sophomore at Owasso High School, used they, them, and he, him pronouns and identified as gender expansive, an umbrella term that describes people whose gender identity expands beyond traditional gender norms, according to the National Institutes of Health. Nex had previously been bullied because of their gender identity, Friends of Nex told an advocacy group. Authorities are investigating what led up to the fight and whether Nex was targeted because of their gender identity. A police spokesperson, Nick Boatman, told NBC News investigators have reviewed a video that shows Nex before and after the fight and will release it at some point. They did release it. At least part of it. I don't know. I don't remember seeing video of Nex before the fight, only after. So I may have missed that, but I don't believe there's video from before. Oh, yes, there is. Never mind. There is. I just remembered because it had started in the cafeteria. Okay. Well, the Owasso Police Department said Wednesday that Nex's death was not the result of injuries from a fight. Its statement added that the findings were preliminary and investigations by the medical examiner's office and the police department remain underway. The police statement provided no additional details, but said an official autopsy would later be released. At this time, any further comments on the case of death are currently pending until toxicology results and other ancillary testing results are received. The official autopsy report will be available at a later date. Nex's family says though many questions remain unanswered, the facts of the case so far are troubling. They plan to conduct an independent investigation, relatives confirmed in a statement issued Wednesday. They also urged officials to hold those responsible to account and to ensure it never happens again. Well, at Owasso High School, Nex was attacked and assaulted in a bathroom by a group of older students. A day later, the Benedict's beautiful child lost their life. That actually is not true. Because Nex was a sophomore, and in the interview, they stated that the girls that they had the confrontation with were freshmen. And Nex said they didn't know, they had no idea who the girls were. So based on what Nex said, that statement is not true, which is interesting. What happened to Nex? Search warrant reveals new details. A search warrant filed in the Tulsa County Courts Wednesday and obtained by the Oklahoman, part of the USA Today network, shed new light on Nex's death and the investigation, including that a detective asked a judge for permission to look for traces of blood and other evidence at Owasso High School. Penny Hamrick, an Owasso police detective, wrote in the search warrant that, quote, officers suspect foul play involved and need to initiate an in-depth investigation into the death, end quote. Give me one moment. Sorry about that. According to the warrant, police were called to an Owasso hospital shortly after 3:30 p.m. on February 7th in response to a report that Nex had been injured in a fight at school. Sue Benedict, Nex's mother, wanted to report the assault and asked police to talk with school administrators about what had happened. She did not ask officers to pursue charges against the other students at that time. Nex was later discharged from the hospital, but shortly before 3 p.m. the next day, Benedict called 911 to report Nex was experiencing medical issues, including shallow breathing. She told the 911 operator about the altercation at school and said Nex had hit their head on the bathroom floor. Emergency medical crews performed CPR on Nex and drove them to a Tulsa hospital where they were pronounced dead around 3:30 p.m. In the search warrant, Hamrick said police may also look through school records, including photographs, documents, and attendance data. Investigators have previously said they plan to spend several days interviewing students and teachers. Huh? So now you have a question? FBI Homeland Security investigate threat against school staffer. Since Nex's death, a barrage of threats have been made against the Owasso School District, and at least one credible threat is being investigated in conjunction with the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, said Lieutenant Nick Boatman, a spokesman for Owasso Police. Boatman said the message that prompted federal agencies to join the investigation included a specific threat of violence against a specific individual. Boatman declined to name the person or disclose any other details about the content of the message. The part I said wasn't true about the family lawyer. So the family lawyer stated that the students involved in this altercation were older students. But according to Nex, in her interview with the SRO, the girls were freshmen, and they and their friend were sophomores. Which, I mean, it's not a huge deal, but when you say that, when a lawyer states that, you know, their client's child was beaten by older students, it gives a little bit more of a dramatic effect, in my opinion. Yes, Sinner. The interview is about 20 minutes long. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Margaret Coates, the superintendent of Owasso schools, announced in an email that all district schools will have increased security. A news story that went viral about Nex's death, including allegations that teachers failed to summon medical care for the teenager after the altercation, and that Nex was so badly injured in the fight that they could not walk on their own. Let me reread that. That didn't make sense. A news story that went viral about Nex's death included allegations that teachers failed to summon medical care for the teenager after the altercation, and that Nex was so badly injured in the fight that they could not walk on their own. Police and school officials said the claims were false, and we are going to see video of that. In a statement on Facebook, the Owasso Police Department said each student involved in the fight, quote, walked under their own power to the assistant principal's office and nurse's office after it was broken up. A registered nurse at the school then assessed the health of each student involved in the fight, according to police. Though she determined that, quote, ambulance services were not required, the nurse recommended that Nex visit a medical facility for further examination. Nex was taken to the hospital that afternoon. Nex Benedict was a wonderful child, sister says. Questions and grief over Nex's death at a time when debates over gender and sexuality are becoming increasingly common at school board meetings and legislative hearings nationwide have spread far beyond the state of Oklahoma. On Wednesday, U.S. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said on Twitter that he was devastated to hear of Nex's death and said more must be done to ensure, quote, transgender and non-binary students feel safe in schools and in our communities. Violence has no place in our school. It is our responsibility to protect all the students by creating spaces where they feel safe to be their true selves. Nex loved to draw, read, and play the video games Ark, Survival Evolved, and Minecraft, according to their obituary. They were a wonderful child, and they were important to us in ways that are really difficult to articulate at this time, said Malaya Pila, the teen sister, in a brief conversation with the Oklahoman. They were really great, and we are incredibly sad. Nex Benedict suffered bullying, Friends Tell advocacy group. Nicole McAfee, who leads Freedom Oklahoma, said the organization has been working with some of Nex's friends and others in Owasso as they process their grief over Nex's death. The group is focused on making Oklahoma a safer place for people of all genders and sexualities. McAfee said none of Nex's friends currently felt comfortable being quoted directly in news stories, but that they reported to Freedom Oklahoma that, quote, Nex had been bullied for their gender identity for well over a year. Jordan Corfage, a spokesman for the school district, did not respond to questions about whether the school had received prior reports of bullying involving Nex. He also would not say what grade Nex was enrolled in or whether the school had any groups aimed at supporting students of various gender and sexual identities. State superintendent sued over student gender change restrictions. Ryan Walters, who we will have an article about later in the live, the state superintendent who has come under fire for his efforts to prevent students from changing their gender in school records, addressed Benedict's death at a board meeting of the Oklahoma State Board of Education. We've had a lot of folks that have rushed to have an opinion and judgment there in the wake of the tragedy. There's little information available, and there will be more that comes out over the next few weeks as law enforcement is doing their investigations. We need to wait for those things to be done before we pass judgment. A student filed a lawsuit against Walters and the board in December over a rule barring students in the school district from changing the recorded gender without the board's authorization. The board temporarily approved the rule in September. A month after the lawsuit was filed, it voted to make the rule permanent. Wow. And again, it seems like there's more pressing issues than whether or not a student changes their recorded gender on, you know what I mean, like in their personnel file or their student file. So, and again, this is just my opinion, but the rule was temporarily approved in September, but then once the lawsuit was filed, they voted to make it permanent. Seems a little spiteful, in my opinion. In October, Walters dismissed court order requests from 2 school districts to change the gender on students' records. Wow. So it was court ordered that they change the gender, and he dismissed those requests. Hey, Auntie M. Aw, thanks. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I agree, Sinner. This week, attorneys for the student asked a judge to move the suit from federal to state court where it was originally filed. Controversial social media personality on library review panel. Okay, I'm not going to read about that Twitter person because they make me very angry. So we're going to get into some clips, including the 911 call and school surveillance video. And then we are also going to watch the full body cam video of the SRO's interview with Nex in the hospital shortly after the physical altercation. And then I have a few more articles that I'll read that are more current. And then if we have anything else that we want to look at, we definitely can. All right.
Breaking news just within the past hour, Owasso police have released body cam video and surveillance footage of the day before Nex Benedict's death.
This is a story that has been making national headlines after the non-binary student.
And so you can see the clock, which I thought was, I actually didn't notice it the first time I watched this, but it says 2:07, and the altercation happened after lunch. And I remember doing this as a kid, but students had to stack the chairs onto the tables in the cafeteria. So as they were finishing stacking the chairs, Nex and their friend had gone to the bathroom, and then this group of girls had also gone to the bathroom. And that's where the altercation happened.
Student died one day after an incident at school.
And that actually looks like the SRO. Hold on. Whoops, I didn't want to go back that far. That looks like an SRO. Okay.
Story that has been making national headlines after the non-binary student died one day after an incident at school. Now, right now, our team is watching those videos. There's more than 30 minutes of material. We are working to bring them to you just as soon as we can here on air, as well as our website, koco.com.
Okay, so that was just a quick clip. Okay, so now we get into this was a community briefing from the Owasso Police Department. I actually found this just before I went live, and I was happy that I did, because this includes the 911 call and a little bit more footage of the school. Oops. Hey, Mac Tire. Apparently, she admitted attacking both girls. Didn't say it happened. Apparently, they admitted attacking both girls. Didn't say it had anything to do with gender. The girls were younger, and they had no prior contact with each other. Yes, that is what she said. Yes. And let me just make sure. I forgot to put on. Yes.
Owasso Police, this is Melinda.
Hi, Melinda. This is Sue Benedict. I've got my daughter, Dagny Benedict, at the hospital. She's a juvenile.
Okay, and just to read this, because closed captioning, unfortunately, is not on for this video. So February 7th, 2024, at 3:31 p.m., the Owasso Police Department received a call from Sue Benedict requesting an officer respond to Bailey Medical Center emergency room in reference to an assault that occurred at the Owasso High School West campus.
And she has been attacked at school, and I need to get someone up here so I can file charges. Excuse me?
What hospital are you at?
Bailey.
What school does she go to?
Owasso.
Which one, though?
Oh, she goes to the at the West Campus, mid-high.
How many kids attacked her?
3. They jumped her in the bathroom. And I'm furious that the school just kind of said, come get your kids.
Okay, and what was your name?
Sue Benedict.
You said Sue?
Sue, yes, I'm sorry. I'm walking through the hospital right now.
That's okay. It's just sometimes it's hard to understand. And then what's your phone number?
Oh, sorry, that's really loud.
And you guys are just in the ER?
We're in the ER right now, yes.
What's your daughter's name?
Excuse me?
What's your daughter's name?
Dagny, D-A-G-N-Y.
And what's her last name?
Benedict.
It's what? I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
What's her last name?
Benedict, the same as mine.
Okay. Okay, I'll send somebody up there, okay?
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so again, at 3:59 p.m., a school resource officer from the Owasso Police Department arrived at Bailey Medical Center and met with Nex Benedict and legal guardian. After leaving the hospital, the school resource officer completed an initial report of the incident, Owasso Police Department case number 2024-3316. Okay, so again, in the body cam footage at the hospital, we'll get to that in a moment. But this is the Owasso Police Department obtained the following footage from the Owasso High School West campus of the area outside of the bathroom where the assault occurred. These are motion-activated cameras, meaning they only record when there is movement. In the following video, it will show all students picking up chairs in the cafeteria. At 1 minute, 28 seconds, 6 students enter the restroom located at the right. At 1 minute, 49 seconds, Nex Benedict stops at the water fountain located outside of the restroom and fills up a water bottle. At 2 minutes and 6 seconds, Nex starts to enter the restroom accompanied by 2 additional students. At 2 minutes and 25 seconds, a school faculty member is observed rushing into the restroom. At 2 minutes 38 seconds, all students walk out of the restroom under their own power. So, yesterday, the last time I did the live, we had read that it was 2 minutes. So we can see that at 1 minute and 28 seconds, they enter the restroom. Well, 6 students entered. At 1 minute and 49 seconds is when Nex stopped at the water fountain. 2 minutes and 6 seconds, Nex walks into the restroom. And by 2 minutes and 38 seconds, they have all walked out. So it's 30 seconds is what this took, this incident to occur. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, so here you can see they're stacking chairs up on the tables. And it actually looks like, so this, and again, they said on the right is where the bathroom is. So I'm going to assume, and again, looking at this, there is a restroom here on the left and then a water fountain. So there could be, I'm guessing there's another restroom opposite this one. Oh, less than 90 seconds. That's a lot. Hey, Phoenix, how are you? Good to see you. And so, sorry, I missed some of these. I didn't hear anything about the sink, but I did hear Nex say that they had shoved one of the girls into the paper towel holder. That's what I recall. But we are going to watch all of their statement momentarily. Uh-oh, a chair fell. Okay, so they're done stacking chairs. So there's 3 girls. It appears 3 girls are walking away. I'm going to assume then there's more students. And based on what Nex was wearing, so there's the group of quite a few students went into a restroom over here. Okay, so here is Nex, just based on what they were wearing in the video we watched earlier. Yes, okay, so we can see Nex is now at the water fountain. Okay, so there we saw Nex and two of their friends also walk into the bathroom. So 6 had entered already, and then Nex and their friends made, so there would be 9 people in there at the moment. So we have one person walked out, going back in, going back in, coming back out. All right, so 2 have left. 3 have left. So now there's 6 remaining. Someone goes back in. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 just walked out. And again, there could have been other students in the restroom prior. And I agree, Remy. As far as an inflammatory reporting, especially involving agenda, a child is deceased, that should be kept at the forefront. Absolutely. But I do see social media and media itself, like with any story, they do tend to conflate some of the information. And I don't see, okay, so someone, 1, 2, 3, 4 more people left the bathroom. Holy cow, like how many people are in this bathroom at the same time? So that's nine people just left that restroom. I mean, if anything, I hope the school in this instance decides to keep these bathrooms locked, because having that many students in a bathroom is crazy. I agree, Sinner. Both sides of the topic have an agenda. Absolutely. I mean, and they're just wandering. Like, what's happening here? Okay, so so that was a security monitor. Okay, so that makes sense. They also have security monitors. So here's a security monitor that is with these students. And that does look like another adult did. Wait a minute. So I think the incident might have already happened. Let me just back up to... That's why I wish they had timestamps, because I think I might have went too far, but okay, so it's possible that that resource officer is walking with Nex, and then these students may be the others involved. It's hard to Mac, please stay. Definitely not tunnel visioned. All right, and so I'm going to just pause this. I'm watching chat, so I know what's happening. Everyone has their opinion, and that should be welcome here. If it's going to be an issue, then obviously it's going to have to be spoken about later, because again, this is about Nex, and some of us have not seen all of this information. Some of us may have. I shouldn't have to stop my live to ask people to be nice. And I will keep deleting comments should I need to. All right, so this is footage of Nex being escorted by Owasso Public School security from the school nurse's office to the principal's office, and then leaving the school with the legal guardian. Don't be sorry. I'm just like, if you don't like what someone's saying, ignore them. And as mods, I just ask that you be impartial, because everyone has an opinion. You may not agree with my opinion. I may not agree with yours. I present facts. I then, I come up with I formulate my own opinion based on that. I have seen this before. Many others may have seen this before. They have their own opinions. Some of us have not seen this yet, which means we may not have formulated an opinion based on what we saw the last time I was live. And I also understand that this can be a heated topic. But I ask that everyone be respectful. And if you can't do that, then maybe you should tap out. Okay, so that's the footage that we saw on the earlier news clip that we watched. Okay, so now this must be when Nex is leaving with mom. Yes. So that was a security officer. So the RSO, as we'll hear in the, excuse me, in the body cam footage, he was in a different part of the school. So he wasn't where the fight happened. So at least I know where I am. We have a resource officer, like a police officer. And then we have security monitors who are usually retired police or, retired law enforcement. So that looked like just a security monitor as opposed to the resource officer. Hey, just peeking. Thanks for being here. Where does that door lead to? What door? And I may have... So I'll just wait, Remy, to see, because you had said, where does that door lead to? I'm not sure what door you meant. Oh, the wooden door in the hall. Okay, so let me... Oh, so you mean the door that they walked through? Good question. I'm going to assume just because it is a wooden door and it's a double door at that, I would assume that it was either... Okay, so this says being escorted from the nurse to the principal's office. So this, I'm going to, based on what they state here, those wooden doors would be the principal's office. Yep, because it says they were being escorted from the nurse to the principal and then leaving the school with mom. And one thing I did want, actually, I want to move back because I don't know if anyone else noticed this, and it possibly could just be reflex, but I noticed as they're approaching the door, I noticed Nex kind of teeter, I guess is a good word. So I don't know if it was reflex and that they didn't realize that the officer or the security was stopping, and so they backed up a little, but I did notice that slight little teeter, I'm going to call it. So just about now, yep, see how they kind of teeter. And I thought that was interesting. May not be anything, but I just found it peculiar.
Owasso 911.
Okay, so now this is the 911 call received the following day. So on February 8th, 2024. And again, this is from Nex's mom, Sue, at 1 p.m. So that, I don't believe we knew the last time that I did a live on this. I don't remember them giving a time that the 911 call came in at 1 p.m. And again, we're going to have that beeping. So just be ready.
What's the address of your emergency?
Yes, down at the dead end, down from the fire station. I need to get someone, an ambulance here quick, please.
Okay, what's
My
going
daughter,
on?
I don't know what's going wrong. She's posturing, and her hands
How
are
old
in, and
is she?
she is 16.
Okay.
She fell at school, or she got beat up at school yesterday. I took her to the hospital last night, and Officer Thompson was there. I need someone to get a hold of him. He needs to get here quick. She's not doing good at all. I need someone here now.
Okay, listen, I have medics on the way. I want to know how her breathing is.
She's breathing in, but then her eyes they open, but she's doing like a, like a really quick, and her hands are posturing already. They're rolling in like I don't know if it's from her head injury, because the girls that beat her up knocked her to the ground, and she hit her head on the bathroom floor. And when I got there, the school was like, I think you might need to take her to the hospital. And I'm like, okay. And she kept saying she had a headache. I took her in.
This is information I don't need. I need to know and make sure that she's breathing okay and stuff like that. About you yesterday, that doesn't matter to me. You said
she's breathing in. She's breathing in, but doing like shallow breaths and then out.
Okay.
And her eyes are kind of rolling back.
Does she take any medication?
No. She does at night, yes, but she hasn't had none today.
Okay. And does she take any illegal drugs? Not that I care. I just need to know. Okay.
No, she does not. No.
She doesn't smoke or vape or any of that stuff?
She has vape, yes.
Okay. Does she ever get a hold of a vape that has anything in there? Do you think that she could
No,
got a hold of anything?
she has not. No. No, ma'am. I'm putting my dogs up right now.
Okay, yeah. Put your dogs up. What's your name?
My name is Sue Benedict.
And what's your phone number? Okay, but she is breathing like we don't need to start CPR. That's just my main concern right now.
No. I would have done that already. I was a nurse. I went to nursing school.
Okay. Okay, well, I have the medics on the way to you, so they'll be pulling up in a minute. So, yeah, if you could make sure that you have your dogs
yeah, they're
put up.
I got them all up.
I got them caged. There's no apartment number or anything with your address.
No, I'm the last house on the right across from the meat factory.
Okay. And you said
I got my front door open.
What does she take at night? What medication does she take at night?
I'm gonna get it. I'm just keeping an eye on her to make sure she's still breathing in.
Yeah, or what is it for, I guess?
I keep it put up. It's for anxiety, and she can be mood swings, fluoxetine, and quintiapine. That's how you say it. Seroquel.
Okay.
But she only takes that at night, about 8 o'clock at night before she goes to bed. And I keep it put up, so. Okay, I hear sirens. I got my front door open. I don't see him yet. Okay.
Okay, how's her breathing?
She's still taking breaths in. I don't want to interrupt it, but her hands are postured. You know what I mean? They're in.
Mhm. Has she ever had any kind of like seizure or anything before?
No, she hasn't.
Okay. Can she still like look at you? Like if you're
her eyes are rolled up. Her eyes are rolled up and kind of. Gosh, I hope this ain't from her head. They're supposed to have checked her out good. Dadgummit.
Did she go to?
I wanted them. She had a bunch of. Here's the paramedics.
Oh, they're there with you? Okay, I'll let you go.
Well, they're not inside yet, but they're here. They're backing up.
Okay.
You want to let me go?
I'll let you go.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so it says Nex Benedict was then transported to St. Francis Children's Hospital in Tulsa, where they were pronounced dead. Detectives with the Owasso Police Department were then contacted and responded to the hospital, where they started an investigation into the death. Hey, Chrissy, I thought it had sounded similar to a seizure as well, and when the dispatcher or the 911 operator had asked that question, because I mean, it could be anything, obviously, but when they say posturing, that's what I think of is a seizure. Which again, based on whether, not whether, but based on the intensity of the head injury or how hard Nex may have hit their head on the floor, could that have caused the seizure? Maybe. I don't know. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm an educator. So, definitely weird. Okay, so then this is the Owasso Police Department released a statement of the assault on February 8th, 2024 at 8:42 p.m. to local and metropolitan news media. Owasso Police Department, 16-year-old juvenile student death. On Wednesday, February 7th at approximately 3:30 p.m., Owasso police were summoned to Bailey Medical Center in Owasso by the parent of a 16-year-old female student of the Owasso High School. Upon officers' arrival, the parent wanted to report that the student had been involved in a physical altercation at the high school prior to the end of school that day. No report of the fight was made to Owasso police prior to the notification at the hospital. Information was taken by a school resource officer who responded to the hospital. Today, Thursday, February 8th, 2024, Owasso police were made aware that the juvenile was rushed back to a hospital this evening where she was pronounced dead. It is not known at this time if this latest medical incident is related to the previous incident or not. A thorough investigation is being conducted by Owasso police detectives, and at this time, no further information is being released as this is an active investigation. The Owasso Police Department offers our condolences to the family, friends, fellow students, and loved ones of the deceased student. Owasso police detectives completed a search warrant for the Owasso West campus that was issued and signed by a Tulsa District Court judge on February 9th, 2024. The Owasso Police Department has continued its investigation into the death of Nex Benedict, conducting numerous interviews. This is an ongoing investigation. The Owasso Police Department has a great working relationship with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and work routinely together. This case, once concluded, will be forwarded to the FBI for a complete and thorough review.
Hi.
Okay, so the next video is of the hospital. So this was several hours after the altercation in the bathroom. And this is the body cam footage of the RSO arriving and interviewing not only Nex, but also their mom. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. And I don't know if the hospital is able to release that information based on HIPAA. Unless, of course, the ME's report may contain that as well. I'm not sure. I don't know how that all works, but that is a good question.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Hello.
Hey, stranger.
Hey. Oh, Mr. Thompson.
I'm Officer Thompson. We spoke on the phone the other day.
Yes. So, I'm glad you're here.
So what happened today?
I got jumped.
Tell me about it. What happened?
They've been antagonizing, the people that I got caught with?
You mean from the other day, the vaping situations?
Yeah,
Okay.
They were in the stew.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's my glasses? Can't see anything.
Sorry. Okay, what I was told, they called me. I'll just start here. They called me, and well, I know all week long she's been in ISP, right? Doing great.
Okay.
And everything. We had a long talk. I mean, we've been doing awesome. And she told me, she said, Mom, she said, these 3 girls there are just, they won't leave me alone. They're making comments. They're calling us names. They're throwing stuff at us. And this is an ISP. I'm like, well, who's over this place? I said, ignore it, Dagny. Get above it. You know, just ignore it.
Sure.
She did until she couldn't in the bathroom. And they said that there was 3 girls that were on top of her, just beating the crap out of her. And I said, okay, so what are we doing about this? Oh, well, in a couple of days we'll talk about it. I said, no, I want something done.
Who said it in a couple of days?
The principal.
Okay.
Why are they saying that? I said, I think we need to have a police officer. It's assault. Because she never touched them. She never touched them. Now she did.
Based on your understanding.
Yeah. Now she did, and everyone has said it. She did throw some water at them because they, you know.
So when I was actually thinking, Mom was saying, you know, they didn't touch these girls, but it's my understanding that throwing water or any other substance on someone could be considered assault. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding.
Let me, and I appreciate, Mom, you filling it in, but Ms. Dagny, why don't you tell me?
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Mom. You're good.
Okay. I'm just mad. I'm very mad.
Sure. And I don't want to cut you off, but I like to hear from, especially the older they are, that they can tell me essentially what happened. Okay. So let me ask you this first. And I'm taking this off of what Mama just said. So clear up the confusion. When this first started happening, whatever this is going, this banter back and forth between you and the other individuals, did you at any point contact any school administration, whether it be counselor, the teacher that sits in that classroom? Did you let any of them know at any point in time?
No.
Okay. And I'm just asking.
And I actually, when I heard that, I found that interesting as well. Not that there's anything wrong with not telling a counselor or an administrator, a teacher. Nex told their mom, and I know in school I didn't even tell my parents some things. It was mostly I talked to my friends about things happening in school. So I know that some may run with that narrative that Nex didn't tell anybody at school, so how would they know it was happening? Staff, at least in my experience, we all have ears and eyes and can see it or hear it happening. However, the majority of instances, like in this case, there was a lot of kids in that bathroom, and I'm pretty sure there wasn't a staff member in that bathroom with those students. And that's probably where the majority of instances of harassment and bullying occur, if not in the hallways. So, again, not saying, putting any, what am I trying to say? I'm not trying to make light of this situation at all. But when the school isn't aware, I don't feel it's necessarily fair to put all of the blame on the district. And again, that's just my opinion and based on my experience.
There's no right or wrong, but why not?
I didn't really see the point in it. I told my mom no.
Sure. But you didn't tell the school where they could actually do something. At any point during this whole situation, and I use the word loosely, but the bantering or whatever it is going back and forth between you guys. Obviously, you know each other. Obviously, you both
don't know each other.
Well, you know of each other with the vape situations and all that.
No, before this we had no work left. Before this ISP thing, we never saw each other. The freshmen were sophomore.
Okay.
We didn't know any.
So this also I was a little confused by, because there was an earlier incident regarding a vape situation, which is a whole nother issue. So they weren't, they hadn't had contact with each other, but I'm going to just rewind it to listen again, because it seems that they were also involved in a vape situation together, but maybe I heard that incorrectly. So I'm just going to rewind it a little bit to listen again.
The bantering or whatever it is going back and forth between you guys. Obviously, you know each other. Obviously, you both
We don't know each other.
Well, you know of each other with the vape situations and all that.
Okay, so I did hear it correctly. So the police officer said, you know each other. Nex says, we don't know each other. And the police officer responds, well, with the whole vape situation. So that's interesting as well, because that makes me question, did that earlier incident have something to do with what happened in that bathroom? That's something I want to know. What happened in that earlier vape situation that he's referring to? Hey, Brianna, in a school system where their gender just got made against the rules and their bathroom choice just got made against the rules, why would they report anything to the same people making those rules? That's a good question. However, the staff and the administrators in the school are only doing what they're being told to do by higher education administration. In this case, the superintendent of schools or the state department, the state education department. Not saying that, they're not on board with what the state's doing, but I would hope that there's at least one person in that school that didn't have the same ideals. If not more, would be even better. But like I said before, like I didn't tell my parents anything. I didn't tell my teachers anything. I told my friends everything. So I'm not questioning why Nex didn't tell anybody. I understand why, because I didn't myself.
No, before this we had no work left. Before this ISP thing, we never saw each other. The freshman were sophomore.
Okay.
We didn't know him.
What is ISP? Does that have to do with vaping? Does anyone know? Because they keep saying the ISP situation. So that makes me think that it has to do with something regarding the vape.
Okay.
I don't know their names. I don't know.
Okay. So they just up and decided to just start messing with you. Because
of the way that we dress.
Okay. So you didn't do anything at all at any point in time that would have, even a couple days ago or even a month ago or anything like that.
I don't know these girls.
Okay. All right. So they just continue to pick on you and pick on you. Then at some point you did what happened? They got up and confronted you in class, or did you say it was the bathroom or the hallway? Okay, the bathroom.
We were going to stack chairs, and after we stacked chairs, we went to the bathroom.
Okay.
And I was talking with my friends, they were talking with their friends.
Thank you, Cray Cray. I don't know why I didn't put ISP as in-school suspension. We just call it in-school. So I guess I've never heard that before, ISP, in-school suspension. Or all-day detention. Okay. Yeah, K-Braze, I agree. Trying to tell somebody you're having problems with somebody would actually make it worse in some instances. Absolutely. You don't want to, you don't want to tattle because then that's going to make it even worse.
And we were laughing, and they had said something like, why do they laugh like that? And they were talking about us in front of us. And so I went up there and I poured water on them.
Okay.
And then all three of them came at me.
Pouring the water, because I'm trying to get this in my mind so I see, as best
I had a water bottle.
Thank you. That's exactly. Where did you get this water? Was it a cup you found? Was it your water bottle?
It's my
your daily water bottle you carry around.
Okay. It was a plastic water bottle.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so you squirted them with water, or threw water on whatever it was. Okay. Then at that point, what happened?
They came at me. They grabbed onto my hair. I grabbed onto them. I threw one of them into a paper towel dispenser, and then they got my legs out from under me and got me on the ground, started beating the shit out of me.
Okay.
And then my friends tried to jump in and help, but I'm not sure. I blacked out.
When did this happen today?
Around 1.
Okay, so around lunchtime?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to follow up, Mom, as far as you're concerned. I'm going to definitely follow up with the school tomorrow morning. Figure out, because yes, any criminal type action, the school is supposed to give us a call.
That's right.
So whether they just got, and I'm not making excuses for them, but I've seen it happen both ways. Either maybe they forgot, maybe there was other things going on. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is they dropped the ball on this one of not notifying me right away.
Okay, so I just looked it up. I looked up ISP Oklahoma school districts. But I don't think that's the correct thing, because it says an ISP is a service plan for students in private schools. And that's in comparison to an IEP, which is public school. But I don't believe that's... What does ISP mean in teaching? Let's look at the individual service plan. I'm going to have to look more into that, because I don't think that's what it means.
I told them I wanted something done.
Sure.
I said, that is assault. She never laid her hands. Now, she did put water. That was wrong.
Well, and I'll explain the criminal side of that in just a second.
Okay.
But as far as the school goes, just for what it's worth, just I will speak to the school.
Okay, thank you, Sinner. So it appears that ISP doesn't have to do with school at all, because they keep referring to that vape situation. There is an ISP programming tool, which is used for vapes. And again, I don't understand any of that. But I'm going to look more into that, because that is interesting. Hey, Bree McGee. Hey, everyone. I looked it up, and that's what I found too. Right. So it's, I believe, because they keep talking about that. And I'm going to just rewind it a little bit. Just so that we can hear that whole thing. So I don't believe it has anything to do with a school issued plan or anything like that. It has to do with the vaping. And they keep bringing up that vaping situation, which is what I really want to know about. I want to know what happened during that incident, because not that it has anything to do with this incident, but I have a feeling it's carried over from that incident. And again, that's just my opinion based on my experiences. But to keep bringing up that situation, I feel like it has to be relevant. Hey, Crispy. They there was an earlier vaping situation with Nex and these group of girls that they had an altercation with the day before their death. So it's my opinion that it has it's related. Again, it may not be at all, but I have a strong feeling that it is.
They came at me, they grabbed onto my hair, I grabbed onto them. I threw one of them into a paper towel dispenser, and then they got my legs out from under me and got me on the ground, started beating the shit out of me.
Okay.
And then my friends tried to jump in and help, but I'm not sure. I blacked out.
When did this happen today?
And that I found interesting as well. Nex stated that they blacked out. That tells me something. And again, I'm not a medical professional, but normally when people black out, it's for a reason. So that actually stuck out to me a lot as well when I heard it the first time. Okay, if they were unconscious, grade 3. This sounds like Nex got sick of their crap, acted on it, 1 on 3, lost the fight, of course, and ended up with a grade 3 concussion. So now we're down to figuring out if the hospital mistreated them. Yeah, and that's where even, I don't know if you were here, Brianna, when we were watching the school footage, but I had said there was an instance when Nex was walking with the security officer from the nurse to the principal's office where they teetered just for a second. And that to me, almost like they were dizzy. So I was like, I don't know. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh no, they're going to fall. That was my first instinct when I was watching it. And we can even look at it again if we need to. But that really stuck out to me. And then also, now they're stating they blacked out. That's normally not something that happens on a regular basis. So a lot of things are, I have a lot of questions.
Around 1.
Okay, so around lunchtime?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to follow up, Mom, as far as you're concerned. I'm going to definitely follow up with the school tomorrow morning. Figure out, because yes, any criminal type action, the school is supposed to give us a call.
That's right.
So whether they just got, and I'm not making excuses for them, but I've seen it happen both ways. Either maybe they forgot, maybe there was other things going on. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is they dropped the ball in this one of not notifying me right away.
I told them
So,
I wanted something done.
Sure.
I said, that is assault. She never laid her hands. Now she did
Well,
the water. That was wrong.
Well, and I'll explain the criminal side of that in just a second.
Okay.
But as far as the school goes, just for what it's worth, just I will speak to the school tomorrow. Not that it's going to make it any better, but I'm also going to gather all the information I can from all parties. Okay, so not only talking to you guys, but I'm going to go talk to all the other parties tomorrow as well, and their guardians as well, and all that good stuff. Okay, but yes, typically they're supposed to, but they're human.
Okay, so I had actually maybe misunderstood the first time I watched this. So I believe initially I had thought the SRO meant that the school was supposed to call police after every incident of violence. However, now that I'm hearing it a second time, I believe he was referring to himself, because I know at least in the school I'm at, whenever there is a physical altercation or an instance of violence, the SRO should be present or should be called on the radio and said, we need you. which is what we actually do on the walkies. We'll say, we need help, and one of the first persons to arrive is the SRO. So now that I hear it again, the school is supposed to notify the SRO of the, he said us, which I thought meant the police department. But now that I hear it again, I believe he meant the school is supposed to notify him as a member of the police department. In any case, they didn't. But I feel that's what it means. Oh, Brianna says, I've been here the whole time. My phone was dead, so I couldn't chat. My son was an athlete. I've seen that stutter step 100 times if I've seen it once. PCS is a bastard. Yeah, that really stuck out to me. Remy, I also agree with your statement. Pushing one by admittance into a paper towel dispenser is putting hands on. I feel like it's the but-for rule. You know, I mean, people can say all the crap they want, but there's always that contributing factor that causes everything to fall. And I'm going to let this play just for a little bit. I need to take a quick break. I'll be right back in like a minute.
No, but if I tell them, why didn't they do it?
I don't know. I can't account for
I was there,
that.
she
I
asked.
don't know.
And they told me I had to
But
wait.
also, Mom, and again, I'm not taking their side or anything. I'm just telling you, just parent to parent kind of thing, adult to adult. Nothing says that you can't pick up the phone either.
That's why I did.
But I mean, before even being here at the school, hey, 911. I'm at whatever school. I'm at the West Campus.
Mhm.
I've asked the school to contact one of the school resource
Okay.
officers. They're not doing it in a timely manner. Dispatch me one out. Then they get on my main side channel. Hey, Officer Thompson, come out just like right now. Officer Thompson, we've got a student with an altercation, a situation that happened at the West Campus sometime today. Can you go follow up now at the ER? So they'll just get me to the high school that much quicker.
Okay.
For your preference. You see what I'm
Okay,
saying?
so I should have went ahead and did it.
If the school does not want to call, you have every right as a guardian.
Okay.
I want a police officer. If the school's not going to do it, fine. You take the initiative. You pick up the phone
Okay.
and you go ahead and call and say, I would like an officer here.
Okay.
They can't. I will show up.
Okay.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if it comes through the channel of the school or the channel of the city.
Yeah.
I will get both feeds. I will be there one way or another.
Okay.
So just food for thought for the future.
Okay. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Well,
Okay, so I'm back. Sorry about that. I just wanted to take a look at chat quick. So Remy says, so order is other students made verbal comments. Nex pours water on them. Others go in to the bathroom. Nex and friends enter. Hair pulling. Nex pushes one into the dispenser and they're on the ground. But we also don't have the other student's statement. So we only have Nex's word to go on for now. Yes, but I actually don't. I believe Nex. They have no reason to not tell the truth. They were forthcoming in saying, yeah, I poured water on them. And that's when they came after me. So, yeah. Right. And Sinner, that's the other question, because the medical examiner determined that Nex didn't die due to trauma from the fight. But how did they determine that? And again, we're not going to know until their final report is released. And I would think, and again, I'm not a medical examiner or a doctor, but I would think that if the trauma to the, a head injury or trauma to the brain, the ME would be able to determine that.
Just anything in life, you know.
Yeah.
Now, as to the specifics of the criminal crime, okay, this is what I'm going to tell you. Yes, I can technically do a report for the assault and battery, absolutely. Okay, because it's unwanted touching of one individual to another. They put their hands on you, okay, and it was unwanted. I will also tell you, though, the old saying, "What's good for the goose is good for the gander," meaning the way the courts are going to look at it is it's a mutual fight. Okay, so both parties are victims, but both parties are also suspects in this. You get what I'm saying? You're offender as well. So I will absolutely do a report. If that's what you want, I can do. Okay, but I'm just letting you know. If the other party wants to do the same thing, she's going to be, the assault will be on her as well. Because she first assaulted. She was the one who initiated it, essentially, because you got freedom of speech. You can do all this all day long. The action.
K-Bray says, wouldn't that be a coincidence after all those years of living here on this earth just happens to die out of nowhere after getting beat up? I mean, and at this point, it could be anything. I don't doubt that this incident did have something to do with Nex's death. But I also wasn't aware that Nex was a vapor. And some of the things that kids, they have the dab pens now. They have vapes, they have dab pens. A lot of this stuff, they may not know what's in it because they share vapes, which is, again, another story. But could there have been something that triggered, But again, I don't doubt that what happened in that bathroom had something to do with Nex's death. I'm just thinking aloud, was there something else that just coincidentally had an effect at the same time? They would possibly, hopefully, done a CT and MRI at the hospital, and that may show what was going on in the brain. That's something, I'm curious to know that too. We had also seen the text messages that Nex had sent family members. And I'll have to pull them up again because now I vaguely remember what they said, but I don't remember Nex saying anything about what they had actually done at the hospital. So, Chris, the media is reporting what the medical examiner released, which was that the death was not caused by trauma caused by the incident. However, no cause of death has been deemed pending toxicology and other results. But again, the media paints the picture they want to based on how they put the facts together. So that is a very good question. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to actually find... I have the text messages right here because we had talked about it yesterday. Here we go. Okay, so let me go. Okay, so this is hard to read, so I'm going to read it to you. So it says, and this was at 8, it looks like 8:48 p.m. So this would be after Nex got home from the hospital. So Nex says, I got jumped at school, 3-on-1, had to go to the ER. The family member says, are you okay? Nex says, all good, just scrapes and bruises. Got a shot in the butt for my pain, but if I'm still dizzy and nauseous in the morning, I might have a concussion. And I remember saying when I read that the first time, they were dizzy and nauseous, yet they were told they might have a concussion. I don't know. I think the hospital might not have done everything they should have. The family member says, why did they jump you? What did the school do about it? Next responds, they had been bullying me and my friends, and I got tired of it. So I poured some water on them, and all 3 came after me. School did not report to the police and is probably getting sued. Then they lost the girls after they made me and my friends separate, and one of my friends had to be escorted to his bus because they couldn't find them. But based on that video, the school video that we saw, the girls weren't lost. They were still in. Nex had left, and then the girls were still in that cafeteria area. Oops. Oh, that's all they have. There was another set of text messages, but that's the one that I was thinking about, because Nex only said they got a shot for pain, and they were told if they're still dizzy and nauseous, they might have a concussion. But what steps did the hospital give on their discharge papers about that? So again, I'm very curious. The GoFundMe, yes. So give me 1 second. That's one thing I forgot to do. Oh, fundraiser not found. Hold on. Oh, wait, that might be a different one. Oh, here we go. It is there. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the chat. So Mom does still have her GoFundMe up. And as of right now, their $15,000 goal, they have raised $136,853. And I'll share this quickly. So this was updated on February 20th, and this is from Sue Benedict, who is the mom. We at this time are thankful for the ongoing support and did not expect the love from everyone. We are sorry for not using their name correctly, and as parents, we were still learning the correct forms. Please do not judge us as Nex was judged. Please do not bully us for our ignorance on the subject. Nex gave us that respect, and we are sorry in our grief that we overlooked them. I lost my child. The headstone will have the correct name of their choice. The rest of monies will go to other children dealing with the right to be who they feel they are. In Nex Benedict's name, God bless. So that makes me think that the family was also being harassed, because the GoFundMe actually refers to Nex as their legal name instead of the name they chose to live by, which again is very sad. These parents lost a child. This family lost someone they loved. Don't cry, Gina. This is beautiful, and when the parents actually support you, and it's very rare. Yeah.
Physically, the moment she threw that water, you've now assaulted somebody. You made the first jab. Just because it doesn't make it right, but they defended themselves, quote unquote. You retaliated back. Now we've got this back and forth when both parties had equal opportunity to separate. So that's where I'm saying it's not going to be in the best of light for you, but I can absolutely do that if that's what you like. I'm just telling you, it may not go the direction you want it to go. I'm not the judge. I'm not the jury. I'm here to just say, this is the facts. This is what's presented. But mom as guardian, because essentially juvenile cannot make that legal decision. If you want to proceed with it, absolutely. I will have you write out a statement. I'll document it, but I'm going to have to do the same thing for them. And if they say that, I'm going to gather their information as well. And based on her own admittance on camera, as well as whatever else, she essentially started it.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to drag her under the bus or anything like that. I'm just letting you know, this is what will probably happen going forward.
Yeah.
But I can absolutely do that if that's the documentation that you would want through the criminal side. Now, through the school side, the school has their own, it's a zero tolerance, just like the vapes. If all parties involved, everyone gets in trouble. With this one, it's more of we're going to cut down, see what elements meet any kind of specific crime. If she was, when she was first explained to me, hey, I didn't do a dang thing, minding my own business. I went to the bathroom. They followed me in there and they attacked me. Okay, she's a true victim of assault and battery. She did nothing, but the fact that she threw that water, it kind of puts her.
Even though she didn't put hands on them,
it's still assault and battery. It's salt. The water.
The water.
You see what I'm saying? If you have not have done that, yeah, absolutely. Victim all day long, and I got you. And I still got you because I'm here to just put the facts down.
Yeah.
I'm not here to, but I'm just telling you, this is a good chance of the direction it will go when it goes.
Remy, I actually disagree. I think the girls making comments initiated it. However, the water escalated it. And I have to agree with the SRO. I mean, I get it. It's hard not to react. But because they didn't separate themselves from that situation, yeah. But I have to disagree. I think the comments initiated it. However, the water escalated it. That's the but for rule. But for not spilling water on those three girls, it would not have gotten to the point that it did. Agreed, Remy. They do. They have free speech. So I think, though, that that's what initiated it. But the escalation was the water. And that's why it became physical. Again, that is my opinion. But for.
To the ADA or when it goes to the judges, they're going to look at it and say, okay, let's break it down piece by piece, element by element. Who actually started the situation? Running the mouth is freedom of speech.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you can say mean, hurtful things all day long, and you got to let it roll off your shoulder. The moment someone retaliates or does something physically or a directive threat verbally, now you have something. Throwing that water on there, just because there's water doesn't make it any better. It could have been urine. It could have been paint. It could have been anything.
What about, because there was three of them, And she only threw water on one.
Doesn't matter. I mean, it matters for the school. The school's going to everyone's going to be disciplined. That everybody that went in there, everyone that was in her group, everybody that was in the other group. It doesn't matter if there's 30 of them fighting. They're all going to be disciplined in the school. From a criminal side of things, it doesn't make it okay. You had 3 versus 1. It doesn't matter. What matters is who started it, and how bad of a situation. Like, was there weapons involved? Was there not? Things like that. Okay, but the biggest part is the fact that it's a mutual fight. So they all are victims, but they're all suspects. But she's in a little bit more of a situation because she's the one who started it by throwing a object or an item onto another individual, starting the incident. She's the one who started the domino effect.
Yeah.
If she had never done.
Hey, Narcos, how are you? I think what everyone is missing is Nex was being bullied and got tired of it. Nex finally stood up. In my opinion, I am tired of schools not doing anything about children being bullied. I hear you on that. But at the same time, like we had, discussed a little bit earlier, if the school didn't know about it, it's hard for them to do anything. In this instance, there are many instances, and I've seen it firsthand, where a child is being harassed daily, bullied daily, it's being reported daily, and nothing is done. So I agree. There has to be something happen. And I have to also agree, I think it was K-Braze had said earlier that a lot of times why it's not reported or not being, expressed, as in Nex's case, is that if you tattle, you will get harassed and bullied more for being a snitch. So there's got to be a way to change this culture. And I honestly don't know what it is. I also feel that technology, social media, cell phones, apps, all of that also heightens it to a degree that I'm glad we didn't have when I was in school. Because it was hard enough being harassed and bullied by others' words and actions, let alone this internet phenomena. I agree, Remy. Many times the school is unaware and can't do anything, but when the school knows, it's just negligence. Absolutely. Absolutely. Gina says, I couldn't imagine having females turn on me like that. Back then, females were my safe haven. Boys are the ones who didn't want to be my friend. Yeah, I agree, K-Braze. Even being anonymous, people can realize who was involved. And that's why I'm going to go back to that vape incident that the police officer keeps bringing up. Maybe there was a vape situation and there was, I don't know, maybe the girls wanted retaliation for something that Nex did or said. Again, just speculation, which I say I don't do, but that vaping situation keeps being brought up. The vape keeps being brought up. What happened during that incident? That is what I need to know. That's where the no tolerance policy, which I think sucks for the most part. I was suspended with the girls that literally jumped me. Yeah, the zero tolerance, we had talked about that, I think, a little bit the last time too, because I get it with, he even said there's zero tolerance with the vape situation, which would tell me that if they were caught vaping or whatever with a vape, that they would have been suspended for that as well. it just, I don't know. I feel, you know, at least where I am now, we try not to suspend the kids. Like, there's zero tolerance in writing, but the goal is to keep kids in school. Because if they're suspended, they're not in school, they're not learning, they're probably just sitting around at home. So, you know, there's pros and cons. And I think in a lot of instances, the cons outweigh the pros in zero tolerance initiatives. Hey, Jeannie, how are you? Oh, I agree, K-Braze. Even sometimes when you deny something and there's only you and another person involved, that's pretty much telling on the other person without actually doing it. It's sad. I agree. Tasha says, I remember one time when I was in high school, this boy would always try and bully me. He hit me and we got into a fight and I was almost suspended, but my mom went to the school and told the principal that was not going to happen because if the boy didn't get suspended, I wasn't either. And so, yeah, that doesn't make sense. He hit you, but he wasn't going to get suspended. It's crazy.
Done that, and I'm not blaming you. If you had not have done that, we may not even be here. Or they would have went ahead and did their thing to you, you know? Okay, now again, hey, I was in the bathroom with my friends, minding my own business. They started yapping. We started yapping, but nothing happened. Then they threw us in the wall. Okay. Now I have where, again, a true victim. Mm-hmm. But again, I'll show you, essentially, shut your mouth. Yeah. As soon as you hit them with water, okay. Does not give them the right to do it by any means. It still does not give them the right to put their hands on you at all. That's why I say they're just as guilty as you are, 100%. Yeah. It's just, I hate to see you both, criminally wise, get hung up on something so minuscule. But I am here to do that if that's what you like.
Okay, what I want done.
And I missed this the first time. I don't believe that this incident was minuscule. Not by any means. And again, maybe say you had asked me, is this a big deal on February 7th? I probably would have been like, nah, not really. But ask me this 24 hours later on February 8th, and you ask me, is this a minuscule situation? I'm going to say, hell no. So again, I can't fault this, officer for somewhat downplaying the situation because, again, criminally, he's right. If you bring it to court, maybe they find in your favor, maybe they don't. But it also, to me, it seems like this officer is trying to dissuade them from filing charges, and maybe that's just me. But I don't know. Again, just speculation. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what this officer, what his intent was. I just feel like by calling this, I don't want you to get hung up on this minuscule situation. I don't know. It just feels, yeah, right, Brianna? Like he doesn't want the paperwork. He doesn't want, and again, I can't speak for him. I don't know what he was thinking, but I just find this, we're 13 minutes into this interview or this conversation. And for me, if my mom said, I want to press charges, I would expect an officer to say, okay, let me get a notepad so I can take your statement. I wouldn't expect them to kind of keep talking about it. Like if I say I want to press charges, okay, let me get your statement. That's not happening here. Oh, Brianna, you actually, I just looked down and we were thinking the same thing at the same time. Thor says, then you also have the herd mentality. The bullies are usually never alone. There is usually a leader that surrounds him or her with 2 to 3 people that follows but don't really want to do it. Agree. Remy says, if Nex had not passed, there would be charges thrown to both sides, which could have resulted in juvenile records. That is true. So that's why I said, Remy, if you had asked me this on February 7th, maybe I would agree with the police officer. But now, because of, what happened on February 8th, I feel, differently. Yeah, Kanuga. Very complicated. Very complicated. And I do appreciate the police department being transparent, releasing the body cam of, the conversation with the resource officer. They had a search warrant. They got the footage from the school. It helps put things into a little bit more perspective, I believe, than we had yesterday. But again, it doesn't change the fact that Nex died, and it's highly probable that it was because of what happened the day before. Yeah, it does. It changes the entire thing. Right, Brianna. First offense is for throwing water, pre-trial diversion, teen court, no mark on their record. Yeah.
I hate to see you both, criminally wise, get hung up on something so minuscule. But
yeah, criminally wise, I hate to see you get hung up on something so minuscule. But it wasn't minuscule to Mom at that time. Mom wanted to file the report, take the statement.
I am here to do that if that's what you like.
Okay, what I want done, or what I would like done, and I hope you agree, is that you go to the school and find out why they did not call you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? I want that to be known, because they are in the wrong for that.
Oh, I agree with you.
I was wrong. I didn't know I could right there. And then they said, okay, well, in 24, 48 hours, when I get all of our statements and this and that, then we'll call someone in if you want. And I'm like, okay, I thought that's the way it was done. And then I talked with my sister, and she said, no, when you take her up there, get someone up there right away.
Yeah. And I will certainly absolutely have their talk. And I will document my own internal with my notes, because again, there's a digital call here for this. So it's not like there's no, it's not a formal report, but there's a digital. And in that note, I'm going to explain it. I'll put in there the fact that I explained the options to you. You chose, hey, we're, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but essentially you do not want a formal prosecute right now.
Yeah.
And right now you would rather handle it civilly, internally, if you will, between parent, guardian, and the school.
Yes.
Okay. Doesn't mean you can't civilly sue them. It doesn't mean that you can't have protective orders against them. I'm just giving you those options.
I just want those girls to know that they need to, because they actually started everything from the get-go.
Okay.
They, from what I understand from talking with the friend, I know all the girls.
Okay.
And she told me, and then separately she told me, and the stories, it wasn't like they were together saying, okay, this is what happened.
And that's my plan, is to find out tomorrow with the admin what is all going on from all sides, all corners.
There you go.
And if I can get additional facts of anything, Mom, I don't have a problem. I'll contact you and let you know. Hey, look, there's more to the story, or this is what is believed to be.
I want the parents to know
and
what
we'll
I want the parents to know also what their girls are doing.
So right. And so with that, because it's a juvenile, I can't tell you what is right.
I can't. I just want you to let them.
So what I can tell you is I will be on conversation with the school, however that capacity may be, with the parent.
Yes.
So if I'm able and I have the ability to sit down with the parent and say, look, this is what's what, which is what I'm hoping for, then absolutely.
Yes.
If it's a situation where it's already been handled for whatever reason and I'm behind on catching up to all that, I'm not going to call parents in after the fact and rehash everything all over.
Yeah.
But with you, I don't mind calling you saying, okay, look, this is what the school has said. This is the information I've gotten. Mom, this is where I'm at now at this point, kind of thing. I have no problems with that.
Okay.
And if you decide to change your mind, I mean, tomorrow morning when I call you, mid-morning, before noon, if you say, hey, look, I slept on it, I really feel like I want to go ahead and pursue. Absolutely, Mom.
Okay.
Then you can come up to, I can send you an email with a digital, so you don't have a hard copy here. I'll send you a digital print of our witness statement.
There you go.
You can fill that out on her behalf of what she told you, kind of thing. I don't know, are you going to be at school tomorrow or?
No.
Okay, they're going to keep you
They
at home.
suspended her.
Okay, so well, and again, that's the school thing, but you'll be home. So if you say, look, I was restless sleeping last night, we think we'd rather go ahead and do it. Not a problem.
Okay.
I'll still take care of you. I'll just reopen this call. I'll start a report. I'll send you an email. You can fill it out with her. What she says, don't ad lib, just put the facts. And I will be asking you that when I call you. That'll be the first thing I ask you before I give you additional information.
Okay.
Because I don't want to sway you one way or another.
Yeah.
Well, here's additional facts. Oh, well then this, that, and the other. I would say, Mom, you've had 12 hours of sleep on it. As a guardian, what do you want to do as a parent? You make the decision, kind of thing. If you stand by it, I'm with you. If you change your mind, so be it.
So Remy says, so Mom didn't want to report. She wanted the school held responsible as they should be for their lack of care with the situation. I can't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I get that they were supposed to have notified the SRO of the incident, but I don't believe they didn't take care of the situation. Just, again, based on experience, when something like this happens, the school nurse is either called to the scene, depending on injuries, or the students are brought to the nurse for, just a simple evaluation. And then if the school nurse determines that emergency services are needed, they'll be called. But in this instance, the school did notify Nex's mom and also said, we would recommend they go to the hospital for further care. I don't know. In that regard, the whole bullying, harassment, like 30 kids in a bathroom at the same time, that's a completely different discussion. Yeah, Brianna, wouldn't that be the day? I want schools to start classifying words as assault like the adult legal system does. Yeah. And how is it not some kind of dereliction of duty to talk someone out of filing a police report? And that's what he just said. If you choose to do it, great. But if you change your mind, that's okay too. Why even put that in the universe? You know what I mean? Like, oh, if you change your mind, that's okay too. No, she said this is what she wants. That is what you should do. See you, K-Brace. Thanks for hanging out.
And once you send me the email back and I get it all confirmed by replying back with the case number and all that. So that way you have a number associated. You can go to the records and obtain that if you want. Now, it won't give you very many facts of anything. It's going to be the basic who, what, when, where, whys to everything. But to get the actual detail of everyone's statements, schools, parents, kids, all that stuff, you have to actually subpoena for it and all that, Records Act and all that. But I don't think that's necessary personally, but that's your prerogative. But I will follow up tomorrow morning with you sometime between 9 and noon.
That's fine.
Depending on what other calls I get through the 15 schools, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
If medically here, she's got a fractured this, that, the other, whatever it may be, that documentation, have that as well. Because if you decide to move forward with wanting to press charges and there is something legitimate, more than just a scratch, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, something that's okay, then we can document that and go from there. Okay. But I'm just giving you all, I'm just vomiting everything to you right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk with.
And the other thing I'm curious about, and again, this happened in less than a minute, this altercation, but someone had to have their phone out. I just feel like someone had to have started recording. Just based on what I've seen in schools, it takes 2 seconds to open up your camera and start recording. Maybe they didn't, but I am 90% sure someone has this incident recorded.
With her some more, and I know she's hurting right now. It's bad.
Well, I mean, it always hurts when you get in a fight, whether you're the winner or the loser.
Yeah.
It stresses the body out, and it's really not worth it.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's what I'll do. Like I said, I'll get with school as soon as I can in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you. Try to get what I can, and we'll go from there.
Chastise them for not calling.
Well, we'll definitely have a talk about that because they know better. And I will say, for what it's worth, I've worked with her for 5 years. She's typically spot on, meaning the one who was with us and our conversation. She is she's one of the best in that school of
that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, so if I was a betting person, I would venture to say that there was something else a little bit more precedent, that was going on. Not that this was not, but I think, like anything, maybe it was a little overwhelming. Maybe she had something else going on and it just slipped her mind probably. Because as soon as I sent her a text message, just said, do you know anything about a fight at the school? Because I'm going to the ER. And she goes, oh my gosh, yes. Can I call you or get with? I said, I'm pulling up to the ER now. I'll get with you tomorrow. And she's like, okay, I'm so sorry. Yes, there was an incident at the end of the day. I'll get with you tomorrow. And I was like, get ready to fill out statements and everything else because I need to know details. And she said, yes, sir, I know. So,
all right, thank you.
If it was any other individual, I may be a little bit more harsh about it, but she's usually on her toes usually. So, but I'll get with you, Mom.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you for coming up here. It's nice
Absolutely.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you in person. Good luck to you. I'll see you around.
Hopefully not. Well, no, hopefully not. She said that.
Well, not in a bad way. I mean, hopefully I see you around school and class and wander in the halls and all that good stuff.
Yes,
you can smile and wave and say, hey, Thompson, and all that good stuff. So,
yeah. All right.
Thank you. You guys have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, so I am going to go back to
Owasso police releasing more.
I'm going to go back before I get to the articles again. I do want to go back to, now that we have heard Nex's, I don't know why I keep saying D. Nex's account, I want to go back to the school footage. Oops, I thought it was on pause. So, and what also I was thinking here, they gave timestamps as to what occurred, but there weren't any timestamps on the actual video, which is a little annoying. So for those of you who may not have been here when we showed this the first time, this video is going to show all students picking up chairs in the cafeteria. At 1 minute 28 seconds, 6 students enter the restroom located at the right. At 1 minute 49 seconds, Nex stops at the water fountain located outside of the restroom and fills up a water bottle. At 2 minutes and 6 seconds, Nex starts to enter the restroom accompanied by 2 additional students. So that is 9 that entered the restroom. It's unknown how many were actually in there already. And it seemed like there was an awful lot in there. At 2 minutes and 25 seconds, a school faculty member is observed rushing to the restroom. That I need to keep an eye out for, because I don't remember seeing that the first time. And then at 2 minutes 38 seconds, all students walk out of the restroom under their own power. Hey Scorpio, how's it going? So so this is at 2:30. So then that would be around 4 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to actually skip over like the first minute and a half. All right, so we'll start here. So they're stacking chairs in the cafeteria. And so the bathroom is here on the right, water fountain. I wish it was bigger. Like this is it's so small. And actually I'm going to just get rid of that comment too. Okay, so we've got 1, 2. Okay, so here's all the kids going in the bathroom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's the 6 students walking into the bathroom. And then we have 1, 2, 3. So that is Nex and their friends, I should say. Nex is at the water. So now Nex is going into the restroom and then back out, back in. So there's the 3. Nex and their 2 friends walk in. And so it should be very soon that someone rushes into the bathroom. Okay, so that is the staff member, I believe, is the man in that maroon shirt. So that wasn't very long at all. So he goes in. So there's 3 kids have left the bathroom. 1 goes back in. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we had 4 students leave with the staff member. So the staff member was the last one to walk out. And they're off camera, which they're standing right here. Okay, so then here's the staff member. It's too bad the cameras didn't turn as well. So then another 4 kids walk out of the bathroom. So I'm assuming that they're still talking. Okay, so here's one student walks away. Here comes the group of students again. Okay, so there's the security officer and Nex walking away. And now they're talking to this other group of students. That looked like a teacher with a skirt on. And it's unclear if those were the girls involved or not. Possibly. It looks like there was 3 of them. And so the teacher, I'm assuming a teacher and then this other staff member go in the bathroom and then come back out. All right, so 2:07 p.m. So this must be leaving the cafeteria possibly, or that area. So again, the security officer and Nex walking to, initially they went to the nurse's office. So I would presume that's where they're headed now, or, oh no, it says being escorted from the school nurse. So that was my fault. They were leaving the nurse's office and going to the principal's office. And this is where Nex has that little teeter that I found. Yep, right there. So it's like instantaneous, but it's there. So if you notice, right before Nex gets to about where my cat is at the moment, there's like a teeter, or almost like Nex is dizzy. And so there they're entering the principal's office, and then the next view will be Nex leaving with Mom from the school. So that does make things interesting. So the last thing that I do want to talk about is an article from ABC News that was published this morning at 11:11 a.m. Eastern. So about 3 hours ago. And it's titled, "Vigil Held for Non-Binary Oklahoma Teenager Who Died Following a School Bathroom Fight. More than 24 people gathered at an Oklahoma church for a vigil." Hey, Mr. Nobody. Yeah, right, Kanuga? That, the first time I watched that video, I saw it right away, and I was like, wait a minute. So I had to rewatch it because I'm like, did the officer, the security officer, like step in front of them, or But no, it was just like Nex stopped, teetered, and then, went around the officer and through the door. So it really stuck out to me. Hey, SoFlo, how's it going? More than 24 people gathered at an Oklahoma church for a vigil for Nex Benedict, a non-binary teenager who died one day after a fight in a high school bathroom. The vigil at All Saints Episcopal Church in McAllister was organized by the McAllister Rainbow Connection. It was one of 2 Friday night in Oklahoma, the first of more than a dozen vigils scheduled nationwide through Monday. Nex Benedict, a 16-year-old Oklahoma student, died the day after a fight in an Owasso high school bathroom. The 16-year-old Oklahoma student identified as non-binary and used they/them pronouns. 3 girls, who were picking on Benedict and some friends, attacked the teen for pouring water on them. The teen's mother called emergency responders to the home the day after the fight, saying Benedict's breathing was shallow, their eyes were rolling back, and their hands were curled, according to audio also released by Owasso police. And again, the Nex's mom stated that they were posturing, which I always connect with have like a seizure when someone's posturing. Matt Blansett, who organized the vigil with the Rainbow Connection, an LGBTQ plus group, said it was important to hold a vigil in McAllister because of the murder of Dustin Parker, a transgender man, in 2020. It shows people that we have a community. We are here. We're not going anywhere. All Saints priest Janie Koch said it is important for people to reach out for support. It is very important, as the gamut of emotions are cycling, to watch out for each other, to be mindful of one another. In audio of the call to police, Benedict's mother, Sue Benedict, says she wanted to file charges. The officer who responded can be heard in the hospital video explaining that the teen started the altercation by throwing water, and the court would view it as a mutual fight. According to a police search warrant, Benedict's mother indicated to police on February 7th that she didn't want to file charges at that time. She instead asked police to speak to officials at Owasso High School about issues on campus among students. The February 9th search warrant, which was filed with the court on February 21st, also shows investigators took 137 photographs at the school, including inside the girls' bathroom where the fight occurred. They also collected 2 swabs of stains from the bathroom and retrieved records and documents of the students involved in the altercation. While the 2-week-old warrant states that police were seeking evidence in a felony murder, the department has since said Benedict's death was not a result of injuries suffered in the fight based on the preliminary results of the autopsy. That I did not know. Because again, this article came out right before I went live. I did not realize that the warrant by police was because they were looking for evidence in a felony murder. However, since the preliminary results from the medical examiner stated that the injuries incurred were not, let me rephrase. The Nex didn't die because of trauma incurred from the fight. That actually is, I good for the police department. The police department has said it won't comment further on the teen's cause of death until toxicology and other autopsy results are completed. Additional vigils are scheduled for Saturday and Sunday in various Oklahoma cities, and others have been held or are planned in several states, including California, Washington, Minnesota, New Jersey, Texas, and New York. Oh, and that's it. And just a reminder, if the information is not coming from law enforcement or some other vetted source, please refrain from making comments unless you have receipts, as they say. Actually, there's one more article that I want to... Something's going on with my computer. I think I have too many windows open. My browser is frozen. Maybe I won't be showing the article that I had planned. I can't even get back to the StreamYard tab. I might have to leave and come back. Give me 1 second, everybody. Oh my gosh, like it's legit frozen. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I had to close out of Chrome completely. Like the whole thing was frozen. But I'm back. So there is one more article that I wanted to read. And this is from Rolling Stone magazine. Let me get back over here. And I wanted to end on this because I feel it encompassed what a lot of us are feeling. And Rolling Stone, in my opinion, always has well-written articles. So here, the title is That Could Have Been Me. Queer teens mourn Nex Benedict. Trans and queer youth tell Rolling Stone they're hurt, angry, and scared after the death of a gender non-binary teen in Oklahoma. And this was published yesterday. Oh, come on. Dang it. That's why. Okay, hold on. I'm glad I did what I did. Give me 1 second. I had a feeling something was going to go awry, so I actually saved this article as a PDF earlier just in case something happened, because that was my only free article. Ugh. Good thinking, Emmy. Good thinking. Okay. I've got it. All right. Here we go. Okay. So when Oklahoma teenager Nex Benedict went to school on February 7th, months of bullying over their gender identity boiled over into a physical fight between them and 3 older girls in the school bathroom. The next day, Nex was dead. Now, as circumstances around their death continue to develop, trans and queer youth tell Rolling Stone they're hurt, angry, and scared for what could come for them. Nex's death is still under active investigation by the Owasso Police Department in Oklahoma. According to a representative for the Owasso School District, the school is cooperating with authorities, but pushed back against rumors that no students had been punished in the aftermath of the fight. Quote, Any notion that the district has ignored disciplinary action toward those involved is simply untrue. We recognize the impact that this event has had on the entire school community, and it is our priority to foster an environment where everyone feels heard, supported, and safe. But the death of the 16-year-old student, whose mother said identified as transgender or gender fluid, has also sparked a massive outcry from politicians and LGBTQ activists who have blamed Benedict's death and poor treatment on Oklahoma's antagonistic policies surrounding transgender and non-binary students. In 2022, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt supported explicitly anti-transgender legislation, signing into law a bill forcing public school students to use the bathroom based on the sex they were assigned at birth and prohibiting trans girls from participating on female sports teams. In 2023, Stitt signed a bill prohibiting non-binary gender markers on state birth certificates. State leaders, like Oklahoma Superintendent Ryan Walters, publicly supported Chaya Raichik, the voice behind the anti-liberal engagement bait social media accounts, Libs of TikTok. Walters appointed her to a volunteer position on the Department of Education Library Media Advisory Committee to protect Oklahoma children from, quote, woke indoctrination, a move heavily criticized by human rights organizations for directly leading to poor outcomes for trans youth. So I don't remember reading that yesterday. So the superintendent, state leaders, Oklahoma Superintendent Ryan Walters appointed this person as a volunteer. Wow. According to a national survey conducted by the nonprofit organization The Trevor Project, a majority of LGBTQ students say they've been harassed at school. 2 out of 3 queer youth said hearing about anti-LGBTQ bills made their mental health worse, and half of transgender and non-binary young people seriously consider unaliving themselves during childhood. Rolling Stone spoke to several non-binary, queer, and gender non-conforming American teens who all said Nex's death isn't just a tragedy. It's a reality they feel like they can't escape. Ezra B., a 17-year-old junior from Oklahoma who identifies as trans or gender non-conforming, tells Rolling Stone that Nex's situation feels eerily familiar to his own. He attended the same school district when he was younger, and even switched to homeschooling in 2017 after the school district in Bixby, Oklahoma, passed its own restrictive bathroom bill. His own firsthand experience at Oklahoma's school system makes him feel scared and devastated by the circumstances surrounding Nex's death. This makes me feel almost entirely helpless. I don't feel safe being my true self. I don't feel safe in my state. I feel barely safe in my country at all. Nex's death is not only a specific threat to LGBTQIA+ kids in Oklahoma, but it is a threat to all of us. Give me 1 second. Aries, a 17-year-old from Wisconsin, says many people fail to realize the toll schools that don't support trans kids can have on their mental and physical health. For him, skipping class to escape intense bullying caused him to almost fail out of high school, and had already tried to unalive himself multiple times by the time he was a sophomore in high school. Once I hit high school, the bullying had gotten really bad. People would ask, "What's in my pants?" Are threats, stuff like that. So growing up trans in a public school, it's not a very fun or safe experience. Give me 1 second, everybody. All right, sorry about that. I had to get a drink. In Tennessee, where Governor Bill Lee has spearheaded restrictive laws prohibiting gender-affirming care for minors and bans against public drag shows, recent graduate Rain, 19, had a hard time making friends or feeling accepted. Rain, who is gender nonconforming and uses they/them pronouns, says when they graduated, they felt like they had escaped. But once they heard Nex's story, it made them second-guess their feelings about where they truly belong. When I hear stories like Nex's, it makes me think, that could have been me. And it makes me think about all the other non-binary kids in school right now, in difficult situations, in difficult states, and how they're doing. When you're bullied as a young kid, it makes you see every person as a possible threat. Like maybe everyone's out to get me. And I don't want to see the world that way, but it's how I've been conditioned. I had become so comfortable out of school. And then I hear a story like this, and it makes me close back up again. It's like, maybe it's not over. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's never going to be over. When Nex's death was first reported, major media outlets published dozens of articles without Nex's chosen name, pronouns, or gender identity, a mistake that commonly occurs when a trans child dies. And one thing I will say is that many of the news outlets have corrected that error. And to play devil's advocate, if they had seen reports, police reports or other FOIA requests such as 911 calls, when Nex's mom called 911, their mom called them by their legal name and their sex at birth. So I don't see it as the media outlets doing it maliciously or deliberately at first. For those who have not rectified their reporting, that's another story. But I can't fault them for the initial reports, because if they were getting the reports filed, they wouldn't have known that. Yeah, that's right, Sinner. Bob Saget as well. Fell and hit his head, went to bed, and never woke up. Same thing with Natasha. I think it was Natasha Richardson. Fell skiing, hit her head, never woke up. Yep. Many of the mistakes were fixed once Nex's family issued a statement confirming their pronouns and gender identity, but Kasia W., a non-binary 18-year-old from Oregon, says comment sections online are still riddled with misgendering and hate. For Kasia, who uses they/them pronouns, it makes them fear what in-person discussions around Nex's death are happening at the moment and worry that trans kids will bear the weight of speaking out. And I have to agree with Kasia. I see some of the comment sections. I see some comments even here that I deleted because Nex was not being referred to as they/them. And it's a respect thing. I am learning myself, and I have messed up a few times, but I correct myself and I admit it. Being trans is part of my identity, but it's not the only thing that defines me. After I came out, I was expected to always speak up and always correct others and always advocate for my identity in places where I should have just been able to exist without needing to do all of those things. I should have been able to just be a student. I wish I could just be a kid. Growing up with a trans father, 18-year-old Quincy Coleman has always had some understanding and acceptance of gender identity. But the non-binary student tells Rolling Stone that they experienced culture shock in middle school when they realized the transgender community was highly stigmatized and misunderstood. It was kind of a shock because you go out into the real world and you're like, oh God, people kind of hate us, they say. Now a senior in high school, the past few months of Coleman's life have been dominated by decisions about colleges and future careers. A rite of passage that stings when they realize Nex will never get to participate. Nex had this life. They had a cat named Zeus. They had probably thought about college. All of these things I know about myself were stuff that they were also planning on. And that hurts so much. It's genuinely exhausting. Like, how is this happening again? Nex's parents and family described the late 16-year-old as a loving person who got straight A's and liked playing video games, reading books, and drawing. They also say that even with the bullying, Nex was confident in their gender identity and educating others. After the family's GoFundMe raised almost 8 times their initial goal, an update posted by Nex's mother announced, the rest of the monies will go to other children dealing with the right to be who they feel they are in Nex Benedict's name. In a statement shared with Rolling Stone on Wednesday, Owasso Police Department spokesperson Nick Boatman said preliminary results from the autopsy revealed that Nex's death was unrelated to trauma and told The Independent that, quote, all charges will be on the table, end quote. But even with reports that police and Nex's school are taking their death seriously and more eyes are on Nex's story, trans teens tell Rolling Stone the future still feels uncertain. So that article, as always, Rolling Stone always does a great job, in my opinion. And I'm so glad that I printed it as a PDF because I had a feeling that something would happen and I would lose my free article. So that really encompassed everything that I feel Nex's story is bringing to the forefront. And I feel so bad for specifically those children in Oklahoma and Tennessee who identify as something other than he or she and who are being ostracized and treated differently because of who they are. And like that one girl said, I think it was Cassia. Let me just go back and look because I almost wish that they had put their statement last. They said, I apologize. They said, I should have been able to just be a student. I wish I could just be a kid. And that to me is what all kids should be able to be. They should be able to just be kids. And I had said this in my... Give me one second. I just saw a comment. Let me just read this really quick. So I see Cheryl's comment in StreamYard. I do see it was deleted, which is appreciated because we did just watch the footage of mom talking to the officer at the hospital, and the medical examiner said it's not related to trauma from the fight. That's it. There was nothing else. So, but yes, I did see, please email me if you have, if you have an article or something that is updated. I have been live a little bit longer than I thought I would be, but this is important. So, Kay Kanuga says, infuriates me that intolerance is becoming law. I completely agree with you. I understand change happens slowly and can be uncomfortable. But if not our politicians or government, then who do we look to lead and inform society? Agreed. And it's just being respectful. I have students who are transgender, who are non-binary. There are students who just want to be called a different name. They don't like their legal name, so they ask me to call them something else. I do it because that's showing respect. It doesn't affect what they learn in the classroom. It doesn't affect how they engage with peers. It doesn't affect anything. It's just they want to be called something that makes them feel comfortable. So I completely agree, Kanuga, that, and I'll admit I was ignorant to what was happening in other states. Oklahoma, I still, they didn't mention it in the article, but the one thing that got me was that Oklahoma was trying to pass a bill that would order educators or other staff members to, let me rephrase that. The bill was going to give the expectation that educators and other staff members within schools would have to refer to students by their birth assigned sex. And I said the same thing I'm going to say now. Aren't there bigger issues in the state of Oklahoma than policing, educators, and whether or not they aren't using the birth assigned sex? So, for example, I have a student who was born female but identifies as a male. I'm going to be disciplined for referring to that student as he because that's what they feel most comfortable as? Get out of here. No freaking way. So I guess I'm glad I was born in New York because I don't know. Then again, if I was raised in Oklahoma, maybe I'd have a different perspective, but hell no. That is called respect. And these legislators, not to get on a political soapbox because I'm not really political, but for them to be involved like this is just gross. It's gross. Kanuga says, I'm a big believer that people fear what they don't know. I agree. However, if the ones teaching or leading aren't educated or informed themselves, in fact, why bother evolving if the fear gets you votes? And we always say that in education, a lot of the people making laws or regulations for the classroom have never been educators. They've never been in a classroom, but they feel they know best. I disagree. Hey, Lindsay, how's it going? Oh, Pookie, Grandma always said your gut knows best. Definitely follow that intuition. Ooh, Ashtastic, feel better. Oh, no. Gotta agree, Sinner. When a child's death becomes political, we are doing it wrong. Yup. And I feel, again, this is just my opinion, but I feel that is where a lot of media is going with their reporting. It's a political thing, which is, again, very gross. Nex is no longer alive, and that's what we should be remembering. Their life. Not that elections are coming up or that, whatevs. Ooh, Arkansas. All right, I've got a little bit of time. I'm going to look that up real quick. I'm going to just do Governor, Arkansas, woke words. Oh. Ooh. I found the oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. I just saw like a little snippet. Holy Toledo. So this is the actual executive order from the governor of Arkansas. Executive order to eliminate woke, anti-women words from state government and respect women. Okay, so as a woman, I'm gonna see if this is respectful or not. Because this is supposed to be good, right? Based on this title, anti-women words and eliminate woke words. Whereas women are women. Whereas an XX chromosome is an XX chromosome. The science is clear and real. All right, let me read this a little less sarcastically. Whereas there are things only women can do, like perform the miracle of birth. Whereas government should reject language that ignores, undermines, and erases women. Whereas government should celebrate gender distinctions between men and women, not erase them. And whereas it is the policy of this administration to prohibit the use of woke, anti-women words for official state government business. Now, therefore, I, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, acting under the authority vested in me as the governor of the state of Arkansas, do hereby order. 1. All state offices, departments, boards, and commissions are prohibited from using exclusionary sexist language in official state government business effective immediately. Well, shouldn't have that been going on to begin with? Just curious. 2. In official government documents, the following exclusionary and sexist terms shall be replaced with accurate, female-affirming alternatives. A. Rather than pregnant people or pregnant person, use pregnant women or pregnant mom. Wow. B. Rather than chest feeding, use breastfeeding. Rather than body fed or person fed, use breastfed. Rather than human milk, use breast milk. Rather than birthing person, use birth mom. Rather than laboring person, use birth mom. Isn't mom is oh my God, I'm losing the word. Slang? I mean, because normally you would say mother, right? Mother. Mom is like short or slang for mother. Just saying. G. Rather than menstruating person or menstruating people, use woman or women. Oh wait, I missed a couple. Rather than birth giver, use woman. And rather than, I've never seen these. Woman with an X. Oh, I see, X or Y. I've never actually seen those words, so this is actually educating me. Use woman. In testimony whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the grace of blah, blah, blah. We don't care. Okay, well. Again, Aren't there bigger issues in Arkansas than worrying about how someone says something? I'm just curious. I don't know a whole lot about Arkansas. I agree, Heather. It really sucks to be a parent of a child no longer with us. Mothers shouldn't be planning funerals for their children. It leaves a hole right in the middle of your body. At least it is for me. Yeah, imagine the person who made that list. Oy vey. And I mean, to spend time writing that, wasn't there something else more pressing? I don't know. I'm guessing there probably was. There was something more important to talk about. But with that being said, I appreciate everyone being here. I actually just found another article I didn't get to. I will put in the description of this live, and I'm also going to drop the link in the chat. And this was from the New York Times. And the title is, After Non-Binary Student's Death, School's Chief Defends Restrictive Gender Policies. Actually, you know what? Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me just see how long this is. I might just read it. My throat is getting a little scratchy though. Oh, it's not too long. All right, I'm going to actually read this with y'all and then I'll go. Because I thought this was important too. So again, this is from the New York Times. And after non-binary student's death, school's chief defends restrictive gender policies. The Oklahoma school superintendent, Ryan Walters. Okay, so he was the school superintendent. And so I was confused with that one article because they referred to him as Oklahoma something different. And I was like, well, why is he hiring this person from TikTok to volunteer in his office? I just thought it was bizarre. So the Oklahoma school superintendent, Ryan Walters, said, quote, radical leftists had created a narrative about the death of 16-year-old Nex Benedict that, quote, hasn't been true. In his time as state superintendent for Oklahoma's public schools, Ryan Walters, a former high school history teacher, has transformed himself into one of the most strident culture warriors in a state known for sharp-edged conservative politics. Following the death earlier this month of a 16-year-old non-binary student, a day after an altercation in a high school girls' bathroom, gay and transgender advocates accused Mr. Walters of having fomented an atmosphere of dangerous intolerance within public schools. In his first interview reacting to the death of the student, Nex Benedict, Mr. Walters told the New York Times that the death was a tragedy, but that it did not change his views on how questions of gender should be handled in schools. I know this is going to piss me off. Quote, there's not multiple genders. There's two. That's how God created us, Mr. Walters said, saying he did not believe that non-binary or transgender people exist. He said that Oklahoma schools would not allow students to use preferred names or pronouns that differ from their birth sex. You always treat individuals with dignity or respect because they're made in God's image, Mr. Walters said, but that doesn't change truth. Well, sir, treating them with dignity or respect is respecting their wishes. Just saying. Yeah, it doesn't change the truth, but that's showing respect. And again, how does it affect this guy? Mr. Walters, who is ultimately in charge of Oklahoma public schools and has been discussed as a public candidate for higher office, has been one of the loudest voices in the state seeking to prevent discussion and promotion of LGBTQ issues in schools. His fellow Republicans in the legislature have backed a wave of new and proposed laws aimed at gay and transgender people. In interviews, transgender students said that the rhetoric from officials like Mr. Walters has been seen by their classmates as permission to harass and bully them at school. And I believe that relates to, I think Brianna had said it earlier. At an Oklahoma Board of Education meeting this week, Sean Cummings, the vice mayor of a town adjacent to Oklahoma City, known as The Village, blamed the board's anti-gay and anti-transgender policies for the bullying of Nex. Quote, "You brought it on," he said, addressing Mr. Walters directly. Go, Sean. Questions remained about the bullying that family members said Nex had experienced at Owasso High School before the bathroom altercation on February 7th and what connection it might have had to their death. The police on Wednesday said that Nex had not died from trauma, a finding that Mr. Walters reiterated. We've been told death wasn't directly related to the fight at school, he said, cautioning that the investigation was ongoing. Late Friday, the Owasso Police Department released several videos showing Nex walking under their own power after the altercation and separately speaking in the hospital with a police officer. Nex told the officer they poured water on several girls who were making fun of them inside the girls' bathroom and that 3 girls then knocked them to the floor and started beating them up. I blacked out, Nex told the officer. So again, in addition to stating that they had blacked out and that little bit of a wobble while walking from the nurse to the principal's office, I believe that something did happen to cause an issue during that fight. Teeter, that was the other word I used. Little teeter. Investigators had yet to determine what caused the student's death, said Nick Boatman, a spokesman with the Owasso Police Department. Sarah K. Ellis, the president of the advocacy organization GLAD, called the death a tragic, senseless, and shocking attack that should never be forgotten. Mr. Walters said the tragedy had been compounded by outside advocates seeking to make a political point. I think it's terrible that we've had some radical leftists who decided to run with a political agenda and try to weave a narrative that hasn't been true. You've taken a tragedy and you've had some folks try to exploit it for political gain. Officers have conducted interviews with students and staff at Owasso High School. The school district has said that the altercation lasted less than 2 minutes and that the students involved were able to walk to a nurse's office afterward. No report to the police was made until after Nex was taken to a hospital by a family member. They went home that day. The following day, Nex was rushed back to the hospital by local medics and was pronounced dead. The state medical examiner's office declined to comment on the autopsy or any toxicology results, but said its final report would eventually be made public. Much of the criticism Mr. Walters has received has focused on his recent appointment of Chaya Raychik to a state committee. So again, Miss Raychik is that TikTok person who I'm not going to speak of. Mr. Walters, 38, has been an unapologetic lightning rod in Oklahoma, mounting direct verbal attacks on school districts, teachers' unions, and occasionally individual teachers who he has accused of promoting, quote, pornography or, quote, radical gender theory in public schools. He was appointed to the cabinet position of Secretary of Education by Governor Kevin Stitt in 2020 and then won election as state superintendent in 2022. He has pressured educators in several districts to resign, including a teacher who mounted a protest over the banning of certain books and an elementary school principal who performed in drag outside of school. Such an aggressively partisan approach surprised some of Mr. Walters' former students, many of whom admired him as an approachable teacher who valued debate. Walters would go out of his way to be apolitical, said Shane Hood, who took at least 3 history classes with Mr. Walters at McAllister High School. As a teacher, Mr. Hood said he gave little indication of his political views, apart from displaying large cutouts of Winston Churchill and Ronald Reagan. He was probably a school-wide favorite. Mr. Walters' public fights have come as conservative states around the country have passed laws restricting the rights of transgender people. In Oklahoma, lawmakers have banned gender transition care for minors and explicitly prohibited the use of gender-neutral markers on birth certificates. The Oklahoma legislature is currently considering a bill to prohibit residents from changing their sex designation on birth certificates, and another to require public schools to adopt the policy that gender is an, quote, immutable biological trait, and bar the use of alternative preferred names or pronouns. Another proposal, known as the Patriotism Not Pride Act, would prevent state agencies from displaying flags or symbols in support of gay and transgender people. Wow. It's just incredibly harmful, said Whitney Coppola, a board member at Oklahomans for Equality, which advocates for gay and transgender rights. Excuse me. I know queer educators who are frightened to be teaching. In interviews, transgender and non-binary teenagers in Oklahoma said the political climate had made things more difficult for them. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm gonna say my throat is getting a little scratchy. There's a lot of feelings of helplessness, said Haley, 18, a transgender girl and high school senior in the town of Claremore, who asked that her last name not be used out of concern she may be targeted by anti-transgender activists. You always have that little bit of fear that you could be attacked, that you could be one of the victims. Hallie said she knew Nex after having met them as part of a program in Tulsa that offers counseling and other assistance to young people, including those who are gay or transgender. Nex was very kind and outgoing and a very sweet person, Hallie said, but added that she did not know much about the altercation that preceded Nex's death. Asked about how Oklahoma schools should treat students who identify as transgender, Mr. Walters said the school would, quote, continue to treat every student with dignity and respect, end quote, but would not, quote, go into the transgender ideology by accepting all of those premises, end quote, and forcing teachers to adopt them. Mr. Walters, who described himself as a lover and reader of history, said he saw the nation at a kind of crossroads. I really see there's a civil war going on where the left is really fighting for the soul of our country. They are undermining the very principles that made this country great, our Judeo-Christian values and our traditions in this country. Getting back to those values and traditions, he added, that's what will unify us. I respectfully disagree, sir. I respectfully disagree with you. Yeah, Heather, I agree. Why do our kids have to deal with this stuff too? Why can't they just be students? Maybe I'm just old, but good God, I'm glad I grew up when and where I did. I know, like, why can't they? It doesn't hurt anyone. Like, ugh. Seriously, like, yeah, right, Sinner? They don't exist. Yeah, actually they do. They're humans just like the rest of us. If you are alive, you exist. Ugh. And Kanuga, they do have a lawyer. They do have a lawyer, and the family is conducting a independent investigation into Nex's death. They are, and they do have legal counsel. Yes. Yeah, Kanuga, I'm not sure. And there, the Mr. Walters said, you know, that the media is making it political, but so was he. I mean, just listening to the interview that he gave to the New York Times, he's also making it political, but he's not. Hey, Glow, how's it going? I just checked out one of your videos this morning. I can't remember what song it was, though. Oh, I know, right, Brianna? The student will treat all students with dignity and respect, except the ones that don't deserve it because they don't really exist. I can accept that Nex was part of the fight, but this man, I know. I mean, I'm learning a lot about other states, for sure. And I am so sorry for the kids and adults who are going through that in not only Oklahoma, but Tennessee, and probably a lot more states that I don't know of. And hopefully, Nex's death will open up this conversation. I mean, I've learned so much in 2 days that I didn't know. And it does infuriate me because I don't agree with that rhetoric. But I'm glad that I know what's, you know, I'm a little more educated and less naive as to what's going on in this country, which is awful. Oh, Heather, I do remember that. I didn't follow that case. But yeah, that's another one that I don't feel that they were completely forthcoming about. Hey, Glow. So I'm sure someone, oh no, I guess I'm at the end. So this is about a 16-year-old non-binary student who identified as they, them. And on February 7th, they were in an altercation with 3 other students. And Nex fell and hit their head. They did go to the hospital after the incident. The hospital released them, and in Nex's own words, said they had gotten a shot for pain, and that if the nausea and dizziness continued, they may have a concussion. On February 8th, Nex was dead. So, and as of now, the medical examiner has said that the death was not caused by trauma endured in the altercation. However, cause of death is pending toxicology and other results. Oh, good question, Brianna. I don't know. But Brianna, I don't think the hospital knew necessarily how Nex identified, because in that body cam footage, mom referred to Nex as she and their legal name. But that is a good question. I don't know. Oh, Kanuga, great point. Take gender out of it. If any of us got into a fight in a bathroom and died the next day due to a brain bleed, in my opinion, it would be directly linked to the fight. Hey, Mr. Nobody, I'm back. I love when you troll someone and they shut their live off. Oh no, Mr. Nobody, you a troll? Never. Yeah, the only problem is Nex's family has to prove that one of the people in the fight pushed them and caused them to fall and or punched. I mean, as we could see, like, there was a lot of kids in that bathroom. And I don't believe that there were only Nex and their two friends and because 6 kids walked in. And I would hope, and again, this is just my opinion, but I would hope that those students who were in that altercation with Nex, that they would be even more forthcoming now, knowing that it could be a result of what happened in that bathroom. Hey, Still in Leather, how are you? You agree it had something to do with the fight too? Yeah, I definitely have a different perspective seeing the body cam footage in the hospital, the school surveillance videos, and hearing the 911 calls. But that teeter in the hallway right before they got to the principal's office, like, it was instantaneous, but it was there and it was blatantly right in your face. Something wasn't right. Again, that's my opinion, but people don't usually teeter or, act like they're dizzy for no reason. All right, Jill. Well, I have been online. I've been live a lot longer than I usually am, but like I said, this was important and it was a great discussion, and I hope that bigger creators than me pick up Nex's story because it must be told. It's, I hope that we find out sooner than later what happened, but I will definitely be covering this story and checking for updates. And if anybody has stories they want me to tell that aren't getting any exposure, please email me. I will get to it eventually. I still have the one live I've been planning for a week out of LA that I haven't gotten to. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that tomorrow, because that one, again, is also important. Thanks, Gina. I appreciate that. Oh, yes. So, and that's what I was going to get to. So I need to rest my voice for a little bit because Sinner and I will be live in about 2.5 hours. So 150 minutes. So I have to go, drink some tea, rest my throat, because I think I've talked more this live than I have in a long time. Yeah, the brain is a mystery. Just don't mess around with it when it comes to injuries. Agreed. All right, y'all. Well, I am so glad that you were able to join me, and that for those of you who stayed the entirety, I do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. So if I don't see you later, if one of the mods can drop Sinner and I's link, that would be fantastic. You're welcome, Kanuga. And thank you to Brianna, actually, for sending me this story, because I may not have known about it otherwise. And so Brianna had sent me a couple of articles and a couple of videos, and I checked it out, and I was like, I watched like maybe 30 seconds of one of the videos, and I'm like, I'm covering this. So again, I see certain stories, but not all. So if you ever have anything that you want me to cover or share, please email me, and I promise I will get to it eventually. I still have a lot of stories that, you know, are on my list. I'll get to them eventually. Oh yeah, Heather, I love peppermint tea. That's my favorite. Peppermint with honey. So good. All right, y'all. Well, it's been real. And if I don't see you later on Sinner and I Sweetie Pie and Sourpuss channel, or on these YouTube streets later on, I will see you all on the flip side.